599 tons. 1916, 962 tons. 1917, 675 tons. The wholesale price of cacao butter has varied in the last 6 years from 1 and 3 per pound to 2 and 11 per pound, and was fixed in 1918 by the food controller at 1 and 6 per pound. Retail price 2 shillings per pound. The control was removed in 1919, and immediately the wholesale price rose to 2 and 8 per pound. Cacao shell. Although I have described cacao butter as a byproduct, the only true byproduct of the combined cocoa and chocolate industry is cacao shell. I explained in the previous chapter how it is separated from the roasted bean. As they come from the husking or winnowing machine, the larger fragments of shell resemble the shell of monkey nuts, ground nuts, or peanuts, except that the cacao shells are thinner, more brittle, and of a richer brown color. The shell has a pleasant odor in which a little true cocoa aroma can be detected. The small pieces of shell look like bran, and if the shell be powdered, the product is wonderfully like cocoa in appearance, though not in taste or smell. As the raw cacao bean contains on the average about 12.5% of shell, it is evident that the world production must be considerable, about 36,000 tons a year. And since it is not legitimately employed in cocoa, the brains of inventors have been busy trying to find a use for it. In some industries, the by-product has proved on investigation to be of greater value than the principal product. A good instance of this is glycerin as a by-product in soap manufacture, but no use for the husk or shell of cacao, which gives it any considerable commercial value, has yet been discovered. There are signs, however, that its possible uses are being considered and appreciated. For years small quantities of cacao shell, under the name of miserables, have been used in Ireland and other countries for producing a dilute infusion for drinking. Although this cocoa tea is not unpleasant and has mild stimulating properties, it has never been popular, and even during the war, when it was widely advertised and sold in England under fancy names at fancy prices, it never had a large or enthusiastic body of consumers. In normal times the cocoa manufacturer has no difficulty in disposing of his shell to cattle food makers and others. But during 1915, when the train service was so defective and transport by any other means almost impossible, the manufacturers of cocoa and chocolate were unable to get the shell away from their factories, and had large accumulations of it filling up valuable store space. In these circumstances they attempted to find a use near at hand. It was tried with moderate success as a fuel, and a considerable quantity was burned in a special type of gas producer intended for wood. Cacao shell has a high nitrogenous content, and if burned yields about 67 pounds of potassium carbonate per ton. In the annual report of the experimental farms in Canada, 1898, page 151, and 1899, page 851, accounts are given of the use of cacao shell as manure. The results given are encouraging, and experiments were made at Bournville. At first these were only moderately successful, because the shell is extremely stable and decomposes in the ground very slowly indeed. Then the head gardener tried hastening the decomposition by placing the shell in a heap, soaking with water, and turning several times before use. In this way the shell was converted into a decomposing mass before being applied to the ground, and gave excellent results both as a manure and a lightener of heavy soils. On the continent the small amount of cacao butter which the shell contains is extracted from it by volatile solvents. The shell butter so obtained is very inferior to ordinary cacao butter, and as usually put on the market has an unpleasant taste, and an odor which reminds one faintly of an old tobacco pipe. In this unrefined condition it is obviously unsuitable for edible purposes. Shell contains about 1% of theobromine, dimethylxanthine. This is a very valuable chemical substance. See remarks in chapter on food value of cocoa and chocolate. And the extraction of theobromine from shell is already practiced on a large scale and promises to be a profitable industry. Ordinary commercial samples of shell contain from 1.2 to 1.4% of theobromine. Those interested should study the very ingenious process of Messrs. Grousseau and Vinconnier. Many other uses of cacao shell have been made and suggested. Thus it has been used for the production of a good coffee substitute, and also, during the shortage of sawdust, as a packing material. But its most important use at the present time is as cattle food, and its most important abuse as an adulterant of cocoa. The value of cacao shell as cattle food has been known for a long time, and is indicated in the following analysis by Smetham. In the Journal of Lancashire Agricultural Society, 1914. Analysis of cacao shell. Water 9.30. Fat 3.83. Mineral matter 8.20. Albuminoids 18.81. Fiber 13.85. Digestible carbohydrates 46.01. Total 100%. From these figures, Smetham calculates the food units as 102, so that it is evident that cacao shell occupies a good position when compared with other fodders. Food units: linseed cake 133, oatmeal 117, bran 109, English wheat 106, cacao shells 102, maize new crop 99, meadow hay 68, rice husks 43, wheat straw 41, mangels 12. These analytical results have been supported by practical feeding experiments in America and Germany. See full account in Zipper's book, The Manufacture of Chocolate. Professor Fielli in Turin obtained, by giving cacao shell to cows, an increase in both the quantity and quality of the milk. More recent experience seems to indicate that it is unwise to put a very high percentage of cacao shell in the cattle food. In small quantities, in compound feeding cakes, etc. As an appetizer, it has been used for years with good results. Footnote: further particulars will be found in Cacao Shells as Fodder by A.W. Knapp, Tropical Life, 1916, page 154, and in The Separation and Uses of Cacao Shell, Society of Chemical Industries Journal, 1918, to page 240. End of footnote. The price of shell has shown great variation. The following figures are for the grade of shell which is almost entirely free from cocoa. Cacao shell. Average price per ton. Year 1912. Price 65 shillings. 1913, 70 shillings. 1914, 70 shillings. 1915, 70 shillings. 1916, 90 shillings. 1917, 128 shillings. 1918, 284 shillings. 1919, 161 shillings. Price per food unit. July, 1915. English oats, 3 shillings, 1 1/2 pence. January, 1919. English oats, 3 shillings, 8 pence. Cottonseed cake, July, 1915. 2 shillings, 5 pence. January, 1919. 3 shillings, 11 pence. Linseed cake, July, 1915. 1 shilling, 7 pence. January, 1919. 3 shillings, 5 pence. Brewer's grains, dried, July, 1915. 1 shilling, 6 1/2 pence. January, 1919. 3 shillings, 8 1/2 pence. Decorticated cotton cake, July, 1915. 1 shilling, 6 pence. January